Morning. So, any questions with respect to the last class? Any questions, doubts? Evolution of Hinduism, I think you have understood it well, right? It is a very important topic because there is a lot of link to many subjects based on this. Take the case of society. Okay. The diversity of India and stuff, they mainly come from this section only. I think I have given a proper basis for this subject. And yesterday we were also discussing about Lord Buddha, right? Okay, Buddha. So we talked about how Buddhism or Buddha, his life story we talked about. His name was Siddhartha. At his birth, there was a soothsaying that either he will become an emperor or a universal monk. So his father wanted to seclude him from this outside world. So he did not expose him to the difficulties of the outside world for nearly 29 years. But at the point of time, because of the help of his chariot driver called Chetana and his horse called Kantaka, he goes out and he sees a old man, sick man and dead man. Okay, after that he meets a saint. Okay, then this leads to what? This leads to an idea of enlightenment within Buddha, and this idea of enlightenment, this leads to a thirst in Buddha, saying that, okay, there is something which is permanent in this world which I have to find out. So with this intention, he goes into the forest, he meets a saint called Alara Kalama, and he teaches him meditation. And initially he goes for severe austerities. Severe austerities means he doesn't consume food, okay, doesn't move from the place that he's sitting. So he does this kind of meditation for quite long, and at the end of it, okay, he himself faints. He becomes a very weak and thin figure. I will show you in sculpture too. Okay, it is depicted very well in sculpture, particularly in Gandhara, this phase of Buddha's life, wherein he performed extreme austerities. It is depicted very well. I'll show the images too. Now, after these severe austerities, he was unable to attain, okay, the intended liberation. So what he does is he goes for mild techniques of meditation, and he keeps on begging, moving from one place to another, and finally he comes to Sanchi, which is also known as Bodh Gaya. Okay, in this place he sits under the tree of people tree on the banks of river Niranjana. Okay, sorry, Niranjana, right? Niranjana or Nirjana? Niranjana river. He sits on the bank of Niranjana river, and finally after 49 days of meditation, okay, he attains a state called Nirvana. And in this Nirvana it has multiple number of meanings to it. One is blowing out of desire. Okay, the second one is with respect to Nirvana is a state of absolute bliss, and it is also, okay, a state where an individual's passions are completely, okay, completely destroyed, and individual becomes completely, okay, equanimous. So this kind of state Buddha achieves, and after achieving this state too, he stays in meditation for a few more days because he doesn't want to come out, okay, and preach this message to others. Finally he resolved his internal conflict, and he finally comes out, and the first sermon of Buddha, it was given in a place called Sarnath in a deer park. Okay, he gives his initial speech to nearly 5 disciples, and immediately after that he starts moving across the length and breadth of India and starts preaching, not length and breadth, only the eastern India and central India. Only in these two places he moves around, and he preaches his message of, okay, his new spiritual message he preaches. And Buddha never started his own religion called Buddhism. Okay, Buddhism was a later day outcome. Buddha, what he did is he started a spiritual community. He just started a spiritual community, and he never intended to start a separate religion. But after the death of Buddha, this spiritual community, it became a separate religion. It became a separate religion. So we'll talk about the transition of this spiritual community into a religion too. Did you check the questions of internal security? Paper 3? Yes? Okay. So except for the question on cyber security, which we didn't deal as of it. Okay, it is in my slides. If you want, you can see where the exact question is also there in my slide, almost similar. Okay, rest of the questions I think they can be easily answered on the basis of class. Okay, they can be easily done. One question is on terrorism, the other is on cross-border challenges to the internal security. Then the third question is on money laundering and its international aspects, or globalization, how it is impacting money laundering. Okay, I talked about many methods of money laundering. You remember? Cryptocurrency as a method of money laundering. That is the core of this answer. Then apart from cryptocurrency, I talked about, okay, trade-based money laundering, then round tripping. All of these aspects you have to enumerate in the answer. So I was very happy. Okay, all the questions directly. Okay, so you people also should read the classroom. That's the reason why the classroom is the most important part of the course. Okay, because once you know where the information is, replicating it will become very easy. Okay, if you don't know, then naturally it will be more tough. Okay, so that's the reason why please focus on the class handouts and classroom as much as possible. Don't miss any session. Okay, now you have the flexibility of both online and offline. Even if you miss because of some emergency, you have to watch it online. Okay, that is what my suggestion is. So even in preliminary, I'm expecting this year more number of questions to come. Okay, from history section, because I'm regularly updating the sections according to the changes in the pattern. Okay, so let's see what happens. So Buddha did this. Okay, Buddha, he attained the spiritual state and he started his new message of spirituality, which is known as Buddhism. Okay, what are the core elements of Buddhism? We'll talk about first. Okay, what are the core elements of Buddhism? Philosophy. Okay, first this part we'll talk about, and after philosophy we'll talk about the texts. Okay, the various Buddhist traditions for monkhood. Okay, and other applied dimensions of Buddhism, like later day schisms. Schisms means splits in Buddhism. All of these aspects we are going to discuss. And when it comes to philosophy, okay, mainly Buddhism is an inward-looking religion. Okay, first and foremost, it is an inward-looking religion, and it completely rejects the authority of rituals and sacrifices. You write these terms down, additional points. It rejects the authority of rituals and sacrifices. Okay, it is an inward-looking religion, and it rejects rituals and sacrifices. And what it says is, you write this point down too. Okay, irrespective of the birth of a person, every individual is capable of attaining nirvana. Every individual is capable of attaining nirvana. See this? Okay. See, earlier in the Vedic religion, only the first three varnas are capable of attaining moksha. Yes? Okay. So this is one statement that he makes, that birth is immaterial. Whatever the state of life, okay, that you are in, if you really want to attain spirituality, you have to sit and meditate. That's it. Okay. Then apart from this, okay, the next dimension of Buddhism is it made varna on the basis of aptitude. Okay, write this point down too. According to Buddhism, varna is based on the aptitude or capability of a person. It should not be based on birth. Aptitude or capability should be the important criteria to determine, okay, how a person has to be evaluated, not his birth. Okay, it is very democratic and liberal, right? Okay, so this is one important idea that Buddhism talks about. That is, varna should be based on aptitude, okay, but not by birth. Then apart from that, it also gives, okay, a new varna order which places Kshatriyas at top, after that Brahmanas, then Vaishyas, Shudra. It will be dependent on capability. But after depending on capability, there is a hierarchical ordering of varnas, starting with Kshatriya, then move to Brahman, next Vaishya, next Shudra. Okay, the four is, they gave a new order for the varna system by placing the Kshatriyas on top. This is one more important thing. Okay, and Buddhism, it never objected trade and commerce. Last one. It did not have any objections for trade and commerce. Trade and commerce mean you have the issue of money lending, which has been rejected by Brahmanism. Yes, but these people, they said that no, this is not the case. We should permit, okay, trade and commerce to flourish. There is no sanction on foreign travel too. Okay, no sanction on foreign travel. Money lending is given free hand. Okay, then apart from that, it was against the practice of animal sacrifices. Okay, earlier in animal sacrifices, whenever a big public ceremony is conducted, thousands of cattle were being butchered. Okay, not one or two. Okay, thousands of cattle were being butchered, and Buddhism, it came into picture and it said that animal sacrifices should first be banned. Okay, and animals are very critical for the Shudras and Vaishyas both, because Vaishyas were also involved in farming activity. Shudras were involved in pastoral activities. For them, they are critical resource. and the large scale butchering of these cattle resources is leading to limiting the economic opportunities of both farmers and Shudras. Now he said that animals should not be sacrificed. This made him very popular among the Shudras and Vaishyas, and he placed Kshatriyas on top. So naturally it made him very popular among the Kshatriyas too. Are you following this? So this way he talked about a new form of religion which is completely inward looking rather than depending upon the external agencies. Earlier in Vedic Brahmanism, if you want to attain moksha, you have to continuously perform sacrifices. You have to depend on a Brahmin. But this person, he is saying that don't depend on anyone. Be your own light. I'll talk about that too. And this is the first aspect of Buddhism, that is, it is an inward looking religion. The second aspect is it proposes these truths called Four Noble Truths. Four Noble Truths, he says, my religion is based on very simple and understandable concept, that is, there are only four noble truths in my religion. My religion is not complicated. You write this one more word, that is simple. The philosophy of Buddhism is simple and it can be understood by a layman. Understood by a layman. He never used Sanskrit language. He used the language of Pali to preach his teachings. Pali was the language, and his doctrines were also very simple. He never discussed about the metaphysical issues. He never discussed about, you write this down, he never discussed about the metaphysical issues. Simple philosophy, no metaphysics. He tried to promote this kind of ideology, and it is an inward looking religion. And there are four noble truths in his religion which are known as Arya Sachani. Arya Sachani means four noble truths. You write this word down. Don't get it confused. Arya Sachani. It means that the four noble truths that he talked about. When it comes to the four noble truths, first and foremost, he says that the reality of the world is sorrow. Dukkha. Dukkha or sorrow. An extreme state of despair is what is known as dukkha. It's not any normal sorrow. An extreme state of sorrow is known as dukkha. And he says that the world is full of sorrow first. An extreme state of despair the world is in. And he says that this despair, it is an outcome of this phenomena called Trishna. Trishna means extreme form of desire. Not any normal desire. Extreme form of desire, is known as Trishna. Trishna is extreme form of desire, dukkha. And he says that, the cause of this sorrow is Trishna. Cause of sorrow is Trishna. Cause of dukkha is Trishna. And he says that in order to eliminate sorrow, what we have to do is we have to eliminate desire. Eliminate Trishna in order to eliminate sorrow. Eliminate Trishna or desire in order to eliminate sorrow. And how do you eliminate desire? He says that by following a marga called Ashtanga Marga. I'll give you 8 paths. By following these 8 paths, you can eliminate desire. By eliminating desire, you will be able to eliminate sorrow. Because the world is full of sorrow, what we need to do is we should become, we should reject this extreme form of desire called Trishna. Extreme form of desire called Trishna. This here, the essay again. Yes or no? Philosophy of wantlessness. He's talking about wantlessness here. You eliminate desire, you will eliminate sorrow. There will be no suffering in the world if there is no desire. There is no desire, then there is no suffering. And you have to follow my Ashtanga Marga in order to become completely wantless. And what are these Ashtanga Marga? He says that you need to have right vision, right aim, right livelihood, right action, right speech, right meditation, right effort, and right awareness. If you have all these things, then naturally you will be able to eliminate desire. And these are ethical perspectives for individual morality. You write this down. They are meant for the Ashtanga Marga. Is it given there? Yes, all the 8 things are given, right? So these 8 things are for developing morality in an individual. Yes, right livelihood is part of morality, right action, right speech, right meditation, right effort, right awareness. You need not remember all the rights, you just remember 2, 3 and you write etc. No need, no one is going to ask us a prelims question based on this. So he says these 8 things. By following this method of morality, you will be able to eliminate desire. By eliminating desire, you will be able to eliminate sorrow in the world. So he also had this intense desire to live always a very fulfilled life. Okay, and that is the reason why old age, sickness, they threatened him. His desire was what? His desire was to live a healthy and happy life throughout. Yes. So he says that, okay, that was his Trishna, and he has eliminated his Trishna by these things. And he also talks about, the next thing that he talks about is, he says that, okay, he says that the nature of world is the next idea that he gives. Nature of world is given there. Okay, nature of world, he says, the nature of the world itself is anicca, anatta and dukkha. Anicca means it is transient. It is not permanent. Transient means non-permanent is known as transient. The nature of the world is, it is a transient. It is a meaningless, that is anatta. Okay, anatta means meaningless, and it is full of sorrow, dukkha. This is one of the four noble truths, right? So the world itself is impermanent. The world is meaningless. Okay, the world is meaningless. It is impermanent. It is continuously in flux, changing from one period to another period. So in this impermanent world, which is meaningless, okay, searching for permanence was my Trishna, and it was wrong vision of Buddha, because of which he faced this problem of sorrow. But once he understood that this is a wrong vision, really the world is transient and continuously in flux, and there is no meaning to life. These two things he understood very clearly, and he said that by these means I was able to, okay, come out of my sorrow. Are you following what I'm trying to say? Okay, so this was Buddha's philosophy, and if you remember this meaninglessness of world, I talked about in a philosophy called existentialism in Western, Jean-Paul Sartre. No? Yes? Okay, the transience also I talked about, anicca. Okay, you cannot step into the same river twice, because the person changes and the river also changes continuously. So the same idea, sir. It is almost similar, that the world is continuously in flux and it is completely meaningless. So in this meaningless and a world in continuous flux, expecting certainty itself is wrong. I had this wrong vision, and most of the people have this kind of wrong notion and wrong vision, because of which they are suffering. So first get your vision right. Okay, then automatically your life will become better. Okay, so he gave this idea, and he also gave a concept called Paticca Samuppada. Okay, Paticca Samuppada, all these are technical terms. Paticca Samuppada means the law of dependent origination. Law of dependent origination. You remember already we talked about one law of dependent origination. In Upanishads itself, it is said that ignorance leads to desire. Remember? Yes or no? Okay. So what Buddha did is he took this chain link and he further extended it with a total of 13 links. Okay, somewhere around some 13 links he has given. Okay, how ignorance leads to something, then it leads to something else, desire, and finally the outcome is suffering for Buddha. You're getting this? Okay, dependent origination means ignorance leads to wrong action. Wrong action leads to, okay, wrong will. It will lead to wrong action. Wrong action leads to wrong kind of desires. And finally, it leads to suffering in life. So this way he gives some 13 links. All links are not important for us. Dependent origination. What leads to what? Okay, and the origin of all suffering is also, according to Buddha, it is ignorance. Ignorance leads to desire. Desire leads to suffering. Okay, you write at least these three statements now. Okay, ignorance leads to desire. Desire leads to suffering. And similarly, he has given some 13 links, which is known as Paticca Samuppada. Paticca Samuppada. And he also gave emphasis to this middle path, which is known as Madhyama Marga. Okay, or Madhyamika Marga. Madhyamika Marga or Madhyama Marga, it is called middle path. Okay, you remember Aristotle? He also talked about the middle path between two extremes. The golden mean is virtue. He also was talking about the same exact thing. That golden mean is the middle path between two extreme ideas. Okay, two extreme ideas के बीच में जो मार्ग होते हैं, that is what he talks about. He says that every individual, when in conflict, he has to follow the middle path in order to, okay, in order to attain liberation. This is one more thing. And he also gives utmost importance to sheel of a person. Sheel means conduct. Sheel means conduct. Sheel is a very important idea in Buddhism. Okay, sheel is a very important idea in Buddhism. Okay, it is this sheel which later led to signing of Panchsheel between India and China. Because Buddhism is prominent both in India and China, Panchsheel is based on this idea of conduct. Okay, ethical or good conduct which is based on character is called sheel. He gives this. Okay, And he also gives a concept called Triratna, okay, three jewels in Buddhism. Triratna concept he gives, and he says that Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha, these three are the three jewels in Buddhism. Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha. Okay, Buddha is Buddha himself. Dhamma is his teachings. Teachings of Buddha are called Dhamma. You write the explanations then and there itself. Dhamma are the teachings of Buddha. Sangha is, okay, the Buddhist association of Buddhist monks. Sangha is association of Buddhist monks. Buddha is Buddha himself. Dhamma is the teachings of Buddha. Dhamma are the teachings of Buddha. So he says that I am giving you three jewels, and you have to follow all these three jewels. And he also says that, okay, in life every person should reject all kinds of authority. All kinds of authority should be rejected, and experience should be the sole criteria for spiritual progress. Okay, based on your experience. Don't believe in any person. Don't believe in Vedas. Okay, don't believe in priests. Don't believe in any kind of authority for spiritual progress. So what you should do is you should make experience as the sole criteria for spiritual progress. Okay, sit, meditate. You will understand. Okay, your own soul will direct you. Based on that only, you have to move ahead. Okay, so you have to move ahead. And one more thing I forgot to tell. So this term anatta, apart from meaningless, it is also called as soulless. Okay, write this word also down. Anatta, meaningless and soulless. Two meanings are there. And he says that reject all authority except experience. Make experience only your spiritual guide. Don't depend on Veda, don't depend on Upanishad, don't depend on anything for that matter. Okay, you just have to depend on experience. Depend on experience. And he gives this statement called Atta Deepo Bhava. Be your own light. Be your own light. Atta Deepo Bhava means be your own light. Okay, this is a very important idea. In fact, Buddha is given the title by Western thinkers as Light of Asia. You write this down. The Light of Asia is Buddha. Buddha is considered to be the light of Asia. It's considered to be the light of Asia, and this is his philosophy. Very simple, right? World is full of suffering. It is continuously in flux, and there is no meaning to life. Okay, and the world is soulless. So what you have to do is you have to follow Ashtanga Marga and the middle path. Develop your shield or conduct so that you will be able to end desire, and if by ending desire you will be able to end sorrow in life, and you will become happy. So this is what Buddha says. Very, very simple philosophy. Any person can understand this, and it gives utmost emphasis to what? Ethics. Yes or no? Every religion has three parts to it. One is ethical, the second is ritualistic, and the third is faith-based. Here there is no faith, there is no ritual or sacrifice. There is only one thing, that is ethics. So Buddhism, in its initiation, it was a completely ethical religion. And Buddha was, I'll tell you one small story, okay, small story about Buddha, okay, which is a little important. Buddha was always against miracles. Okay, Buddha was against magic and miracles. Okay, this is very important idea. See, I'll tell you, there is a story, I think you might have read in your NCERT too, about Kiso Gautami. Okay, Kiso Gautami, she is a lady. Okay, she is a lady, and Buddha was traveling, preaching his doctrine. Okay, in Central India and Eastern India, he was traveling. And once what happened is Buddha met this lady called Kiso Gautami. And Kiso Gautami, okay, in fact, when Buddha was in her village, her son died. Okay, a very young chap, he died. And what she does is she picks up the kid, okay, and takes him to Buddha. If you are really a spiritual master, if you are really, okay, a superior human being, what you have to do is you have to, okay, bring my son back to life. This was her demand to Buddha. And what Buddha says is, okay, Buddha had the capability to revive dead people to life too. Okay, he had the capability. It is said that he had the capability, but he did not want to do that. What he did is, in fact, he asked Kiso Gautami to go to, okay, the village and bring, okay, a handful of grains from a house where there has been no death. Kiso Gautami was immediately very happy. Okay, so she runs to the village. She runs back to the village, and in village, she goes to every house. Okay, and asks, if there was no death in your house, please give me a handful of grains. Because Buddha has said that my son, he will be able to revive my son if you give a handful of grains. Then the family said that, okay, recently one of my family members had expired. She goes to another house. After going to some 10-15 houses, she understands that death is the reality of life. Okay, there is no house where there has been no death. Okay, so death is common for life. Okay, this is what she understands, and she comes back and she becomes a nun in Buddhism. Similarly, okay, whenever he met any great or whenever he met a person, he always tries to give more emphasis to ethics and reality rather than, okay, magic and mysticism. Okay, take the same case, okay, in case of Jesus Christ, when a dead person was brought in front of Jesus Christ, he revived him back to life as a proof of his capabilities, for his miracle, to prove his miraculousness. He also walked on water too, but Buddha never did these kind of things. He only focused on ethics and spirituality, okay, and he preached the same too. And there are a number of stories, okay, I think you know about the story of Angulimal. Okay, I talked about it, Angulimal, okay, he was also transformed. Okay, then apart from that, there were some prostitutes to untouchables. Every walk of life, people from every walk of life, they were inspired by Buddha's ideas and they joined Buddhist monkhood. Okay, and he was a very popular teacher. Okay, in fact, there was a prostitute, okay, Nagara Vanita by the name of, what is her name? Okay, Amrapali. Okay, Amrapali is the Nagara Vanita. Okay, she was the city prostitute, and she was also similarly converted to Buddhism. Okay, she became a nun in Buddhism. Okay, write her name down. She is important. Nagara Vanita Amrapali. Amrapali is city prostitute, and she was also converted to Buddhism by Lord Buddha. And Buddha had regular interactions with Ajatasattu. Okay, Ajatasattu. Buddha had regular interactions with Ajatasattu, the king of Magadha. You remember Ajatasattu? Okay, for people who might have attended the earlier classes, they might be knowing. Ajatasattu, he was a close confidant, and regularly they used to meet. Ajatasattu. And there are many stories about Buddha. Okay, based on these principles only, he was able to resolve many conflicts. Many conflicts he was able to resolve. So these are the central tenets of Buddhism as a philosophy. And he also talks of that, he says that the universe is uncreated and function on natural laws. There is no one person who has created the universe, and it continuously functions on natural laws, and it is in continuous flux. We already talked about flux idea. Yes. And he also says that he accepted the doctrine of karma. He accepted the doctrine of karma, and he also accepted the philosophy of transmigration. Transmigration is movement from one life to another. Okay. But he did not accept the presence of soul, but he accepted the principle of transmigration. This is important. There is a key difference between these things. See, in Hinduism, samsara cycle is given. Okay, the soul will move from one life to another life. That was very clear. But this person, he said that there is no soul in world. Anatta. The universe is soulless. But even then, he's saying that transmigration is being done. Okay, transmigration from one life to another, it is happening. Wherein, rather than soul, he says that the essence gets transferred from one life to another. Okay, essence of an individual, it gets transferred from one life to another, but not the soul. He gives a different interpretation to it. And he also talks of a doctrine of karma. Okay, and the karmic cycle for Buddha, it ends in one's lifetime only. It doesn't get carry forward. There is no carry forward here. Okay, you write this down. The doctrine of karma, it ends in a person's lifetime. Okay, in Hinduism, there is carry forward, right? Because the soul is getting carry forwarded from one life to another. There is no carry forward here. In this life only, for all your actions, you will suffer and then you will die. There is no carry forward here. Similarly, okay, this transmigration also occurs, but the transmigration is essence. And Buddha never commented on God. Presence, absence, okay, who is God, these kind of things he never talked about. Because if you enter the domain of God, automatically it will become more complicated. So he never talked about God at any place. He never commented on God. Okay, he left it to, okay, the individuals who are following him to their discretion, whether to believe in a God or not to believe in a God. It is your wish. And I will never comment on God. His presence, absence is immaterial for me. What I am saying is, individual in this life only, he has the capability to attain a state of spiritual bliss called nirvana. And I have done it. You people also should do it. Okay, this was the core of Buddha's philosophy. Are you following this? Okay, he never commented on God. And next, if we move to the religious texts of Buddhism. Okay, religious texts of Buddhism. You understood the philosophy of Buddhism? Yes? Okay. So this is the core of philosophy of Buddhism. And after that, okay, the religious texts in Buddhism are, okay, one is, there are books called Tripitakas. Tripitaka. Okay, as the name suggests, there are three books. And these three books are Vinaya, Sutta and Abhidhamma. Vinaya, Sutta and Abhidhamma, three books are there. And Vinaya and Sutta, both of these are composed during the time of Buddha himself. During the time of Buddha himself, Vinaya and Sutta, both of them were composed. When it comes to Vinaya, Vinaya talked about the monastic code. Okay, Vinaya talked about monastic code. In fact, thousands of people, they left their their normal life and they joined the ranks of Buddhist order. Okay, and Buddha had a big group of bhikkhus and bhikkhunis. Okay, they are called bhikkhus and bhikkhunis. I think I have given it somewhere else, but if you want to, you can write it. Had a big group of bhikkhus and bhikkhunis. Okay, who are monks in Buddhism. They left their day-to-day life and they joined the ranks of Buddhism, inspired by the ideas of Buddha. And all of them, they aimed for what? Desireless state. Okay, their aim was a desireless state, and thousands of people, they joined the ranks of Buddha, and in order to organize them into proper format, he gave a code called the monastic code, which is known as Vinaya Pitaka. Vinaya Pitaka is the monastic rules. Okay, is the monastic rules for the sake of governing the bhikkhus and bhikkhunis, how they should function. Okay, what kind of system they should follow. Okay, what should they do. Okay, all of these things he had given a elaborate description, which is known as Vinaya Pitaka. And the second book is known as Sutta Pitaka. And Sutta Pitaka, it contains the teachings of Buddha. The sayings of Buddha are known as the Sutta Pitaka. Sutta Pitaka are the sayings of Buddha. And the Sutta Pitaka, it has some sections called Nikayas. Okay, Nikayas is the subsections of Vinaya Pitaka. You highlight it. Okay, Nikaya is a subsection of Sutta Pitaka. And of these Nikayas, the most important ones are two Nikayas are there. One is Kuddaka and the second one is Anguttara Nikaya. Anguttara Nikaya is the one which talks about, okay, the Sodasa Mahajanapadas. Okay, there are 16 large kingdoms during the time of Buddha. The information comes from this Nikaya, which is known as Anguttara Nikaya. Then apart from that, we had one more that is called Kuddaka Nikaya. Okay, Kuddaka Nikaya is one more important text. And this Kuddaka Nikaya, it contains tales called Jataka tales. Okay, Jataka tales. And these Jataka tales, they talk about the previous lives of Buddha. Previous lives of Buddha. Okay, because Buddha, after attaining this spiritual attainment, he says that he had many previous lives too. And in these previous lives, okay, how he was born, okay, what was his role and stuff, he narrates them as stories, which is known as the Kuddaka Nikaya. And these tales are called Jataka tales, which talk about the previous lifetimes of Buddha. Okay, previous lifetimes of Buddha. And they also contain the stories of Bodhisattvas. You write one more statement. They also have the stories of Bodhisattvas. Bodhisattva. Stories are also there. Who Bodhisattva is and stuff I'll discuss shortly. And you might be knowing about Jataka tales. Okay, Jataka tales are the first tales, okay, which gave, okay, which shows the interaction between man and animals. Okay, Panchatantra later also is dependent upon the interaction between man and animals. So through the character of animals, spiritual and moral messages are given to the general public. That is what is the Jataka tale. Okay, this is unique to India. In no other country, literature has been written which shows the interaction between men and animals. But this is the only tales, or the first tales, which showed an interaction between man and animal. Okay, man and animal interaction. And animals, through their actions, they try to preach morality and spirituality to people through these tales. And these Jataka tales, they are very, very popular in ancient India. And most of the stupas, okay, viharas that have been constructed, paintings, all of them, they contain the same tales, Jataka tales only. Okay, if you go to Ajanta, if you go to Sanchi, whichever place you go to which is associated with Buddhism, the paintings, sculpture, they are depiction of the same tales called Jataka tales. And Jataka tales, they became an inspiration for later day emergence of Panchatantra tales, okay, which were written down by Vishnu Sharma. Okay, Vishnu Sharma is the one who wrote the Panchatantra tales, right? In Guptan period, I think I've talked about it. So Panchatantra was composed on the basis of Jataka tales, and Panchatantra later it became an inspiration for Arabian Nights. Okay, all of these tales, they were carried from India to the Western world by the Arabs. So this way, okay, this is one important tales called Jataka tales. There are n number of Jataka tales. If you want to, you can read some of them too. They are very good. Okay, they are very good. They talk about spirituality, they talk about morality, what kind of action should be taken. Okay, so these kind of things are covered as part of these Jataka tales. And the last Pitaka is known as Abhidhamma Pitaka, and it has been composed after the death of Buddha. Okay, not when he was present. Okay, this was composed after the death of Buddha, and this contains the philosophical interpretations of Buddha's teachings. Philosophical interpretations of Buddha's teachings. Whatever Buddha has talked, what might be its exact meaning. Okay, so this philosophical interpretations was composed by a person called Mogalipattu Tissa. Mogalipattu Tissa is the person who composed this Abhidhamma Pitaka in the third council. There were some councils which were held. I'll talk about them too. And he also wrote a book called Kathavattu. Okay, Kathavattu is points of controversy in Buddhism. Points of controversy in Buddhism. What points of controversy and stuff I'll talk about. Mogalipattu Tissa, he is the one who composed this Pitaka called Abhidhamma Pitaka, and it contains the philosophical interpretations of Buddhism. Next, we have the concept called ceremonies in Buddhist monkhood. Okay, ceremonies, what kind of rituals, sorry, not rituals, ceremonies, what kind of festivities are conducted in Buddhist monkhood. And these festivities are, okay, mainly conducted in the Sangha. Mainly conducted in the Sangha. And in Sangha, the Sangha organization is based on democratic institutions. Is based on democratic institutions, and the decisions are made on the basis of consensus. Okay, this is one important idea. The decisions are not based on the basis of majority and minority. The decisions are taken with the help of consensus. Okay, consensus. And the Sanghas were run in a democratic fashion. They were run in a democratic fashion. Means that every person's opinion is taken into consideration. And in fact, difference of opinion, okay, was never accepted. There is no concept of majority and minority. Everyone should agree to an action. Only then the action is taken up. Okay, naturally, whenever there is a disagreement, whenever there was no possibility of consensus, it led to a concept called Sangha Beda. Okay, write this down. Sangha Beda. Sangha Beda. Okay, Sangha Beda. Whenever there was no consensus, it led to Sangha Beda. Sangha Beda means split in the Sangha. Split in Sangha is called Sangha Beda. So, either you agree, okay, to what I am proposing, or otherwise you go and establish your own Sangha. Okay, these are the two options which are given. Are you getting this? There is no democratic decision making or voting is involved. Okay, so this is how. And some of the important ceremonies are, these are the important ceremonies: Pratimoksha, Parivrajya, Upasampada, Vasavasa, and Uposta. Okay, these are technical terms. You have to remember their meaning. Pratimoksha is the monastic rules. Okay, the monastic rules, Vinaya Pitaka, whatever is present. Okay, they are further translated and they are known as Pratimoksha. And there is usually a ceremony called Parivrajya, or you write it as PA. Okay, it is called Parivrajya, not PR. Okay, Parivrajy. Okay, this is Parivrajya ceremony. Parivrajya means initiation of novice. Novice means the new initiate into Buddhism. Okay, will be accepted based on the ceremony called Parivrajya ceremony. Then the next ceremony is called Upasampada. Upasampada. Okay, after initiation, if a person becomes a senior monk, this ordination ceremony is conducted. Okay, for senior monks, right? This is for new monks. This is for senior monks. Upasampada is for senior monks. Parivrajya is for new monks. And okay, there is a thing called Vasavasa in Buddhism. Vasavasa means monsoon retreat. Monsoon retreat. See, the Buddhist monks throughout all seasons, like summer, winter, what they do is they move from one place to another. Regularly, they keep on walking and preaching the message of Buddhism to the followers. Okay, they move from one village to another village. They never stay at one place. And they are dependent upon bhikkhu or bhikshu. It means that they should not cook any food, right? So they have to take a begging bowl, go to the village, okay, get some alms, and after that they have to preach the religion. So this is what the bhikkhus have to do. But only in the season of monsoon, okay, monsoon season, Okay, during the monsoon season, because the Indian roads are very difficult to travel during monsoon season. Okay, so that is what Buddha says, is that during monsoon season, the monks can retreat into, okay, the places where the monks stay, which are called viharas. They can permanently stay in viharas only during the monsoon season. And during this period, even cooking is allowed, and people have to spend their time during this period reading the spiritual or the religious texts and also meditating. Okay, meditation and reading the religious texts should be done during the Vasavasa period. Vasavasa is the monsoon retreat period. And after that, okay, there was one more ceremony called Uposta. Okay, Uposta ceremony, and it is based on confessions. Okay, every fortnight, all of the monks, they gather together, and during this period, okay, if a monk has broken some rule, he will openly confess it. Okay, he will openly confess it to the Sangha. So this is what is known as Uposta ceremony or confession ceremony. These are all the technical terms. You have to remember them. You have to remember them. So Patimoksha, Parivraja, Upasampada, Vasavasa, and Uposta. Okay, and the idea of Sang Beda also you remember. Okay, this is important. Sang Beda. So these are the various ceremonies. And now the followers of Buddhism. Okay, see, there are two more technical terms. Followers of Buddhism, the bhikshus are monks, and bhikkhunis are female monks. I already talked about it. Bhikkhuni are the female monks. And there are also normal or lay followers who are called upasikas. Okay, upasika is a lay follower who did not take to monkhood, but he follows the ideas of Buddhism. He did not become a monk. He is living a normal life. A lay follower or common follower. Lay. He did not renounce his life. Okay, he did not. No renunciation, you write. No renunciation. He did not become a monk or sannyasi. He did not become a monk or sannyasi. And okay, I have just added two more technical terms here. Here, one is called arhat and the second one is tadgata. Okay, tadgata and arhat. Okay, Buddha has one more name, that is tadgata. Okay, tadgata is one more name of Buddha, and one more name of Buddha is arhat. One more name of Buddha is arhat, and any individual who attains nirvana, he is called as arhat. Any individual who attained nirvana is called arhat. These terms are not given there, you have tried them wrong. Arhat is the one who has attained nirvana. Tadgata is other name of Buddha. When it comes to the structures in Buddhism, okay, there are three kinds of structures. One is Chaitya, the second is Vihara, and the third is called Stupa. Chaitya is a prayer hall. Okay, Chaitya is a prayer hall. Vihara is the residence of monks, and the Stupa is, okay, Stupa is the semi-domicile structure which is built over the relics of Buddha. Okay, semi-domicile structure. This is built on the remains of Buddha. After the death of Buddha, what happened is, where did Buddha die? Kusinara, he died, right? Okay, after his death, he has been buried. Okay, has been buried, and there was a burial mound which has been created on him like a semi-domicile structure. Okay, this way, just mud-based semi-domicile structure has been constructed on the top of Buddha, which is mud-made completely. Okay, so this was the place where Buddha was buried. And after this, okay, slowly this center became a major center for Buddhist pilgrimage. It became a major center for Buddhist pilgrimage. And during the time of Ashoka, what Ashoka did is, he excavated this dead body. Okay, he removed the dead body from the grave. And what he did is, he has broken down it into multiple number of parts. And these parts were sent across the length and breadth of India, and also to Sri Lanka too. Some parts were sent. And on these parts, the stupas were built. Okay, on the body parts of Buddha. Okay, body parts means the bones. Okay, to one place skull was sent, to one place, okay, the finger is sent, to other place one more body part is sent. This way he has sent the relics of Buddha to the length and breadth of India. And not historically, but mythically it is said that in total he has constructed 84,000 stupas during his lifetime. Ashoka. Okay, by excavating the dead body of Buddha, he broke it down into multiple number of parts, and he constructed nearly 84,000 stupas on the relics of Buddha. Okay, on the relics of Buddha, he constructed nearly 84,000 stupas, and most of the stupas, they contain the relics of Buddha. Take the case of Sanchi Stupa, Sarnath Stupa, Anuradhapura in Sri Lanka, All these stupas are having the Buddhist relics in them. Buddhist relics in them. In architecture, I'll talk about the kinds of stupas too. There I'll talk more about them. There are some kind of stupas which contain the relics of Buddha. Some other stupas, they don't contain any relics. So this kind of, and just write it down. The stupas which are constructed with relics of Buddha are known as Dhatu Garbha stupas. Dhatu Garbha stupas are stupas which contain the relics of Buddha are called Dhatu Garbha. Dhatu Garbha stupas. And there are in total 4 Buddhist councils which were held. And these Buddhist councils are important for us. Just have a look at them. The first council, it was held immediately after the death of Buddha. And it was held in Rajgriha. Rajgriha is the initial capital of the Magadhan Empire. Magadhan Empire, the first capital was Rajgriha. And the president of this council is this person by the name of Mahakashyapa. And the king at that point of time is Ajatasattu. Remember Ajatasattu? The Haryanka dynasty king of, who is a close associate of Buddha. So this person is known as Ajatasattu. And during his period in Rajgriha, the first council was held, and the head of this council is Mahakashyapa. And during this period only, Vinaya and Sutta Pitaka, they are finally compiled during this period. Vinaya and Sutta Pitaka, they are compiled together during this period, not written down. Writing was done at the time of Buddha itself. But they have been compiled together and made into standard doctrines or books during the first council. Then the second council was held, and this was held in Vaishali. Vaishali is in Bihar. Vaishali is in Bihar, and the second council was held in this place called Vaishali, and the president of this council is this person called Sabakami. Sabakami is the president, and the king is Kalashoka. Not Ashoka, but there was one more king called Kalashoka, and he belonged to the Shishunaga dynasty. You write the term down. He belonged to the Shishunaga dynasty. These kind of things are being asked. Shishunaga. First one is Haryanka. The second one is Shishunaga dynasty. Shishunagas are the people who succeeded the Sunga dynasty in Magadha. The Sunga dynasty in Magadha. Sungas were succeeded by Shishunagas. And of the Shishunagas, Kalashoka is the most prominent king. And because he was the one who convened the second council. And in this second council itself, the first break in Buddhism occurred. The first schism. Schism means Sangha Bheda. It occurred in this second council. Because monks were not agreeing upon an issue. There was no consensus among the monks. And there was no scope for voting. No majority-minority based decisions. So this led to the first Sangha Bheda. And the first Sangha Bheda is between Sthaviravadins on one side and Mahasangikas on the other. Sthaviravadins and Mahasangikas. One is orthodox and the other one is unorthodox. I'll talk about them. I'll talk about them a little later. Who they are and stuff. I'll talk about them. One is Sthavira and the second one is Mahasangika. The first split occurred here. And the next, after this, the third council was held. And it was held at Patliputra, which was the capital of Mauryas. Mauryan capital, Patliputra. And it was presided by this same Mogalipattu Tissa. We talked about him. He was in fact not an Indian monk. He is a Sri Lankan. He is a Sri Lankan monk. He is not Indian. He is a Sri Lankan monk, and he became the president of this council, and the king is Ashoka Maurya. King is Ashoka Maurya, and during this period only the Abhidhamma Pitaka has been composed. We already talked about it. Abhidhamma Pitaka, the philosophical interpretations of Buddha's teachings. It was done after the death of Buddha. It was done after the death of Buddha. Then after that, during this period, Buddhist missionary activity it started. State-supported missionary activity. State-supported. Ashoka, he sponsored Buddhist missionaries to travel across the length and breadth of India, and also to foreign countries also he sent many Buddhist missionaries. So Buddhist missionary activity it started, and he tried to suppress the schisms in Buddhism because he did not like splits in Buddhism. So what he did is he tried to suppress the splits among Mahasangikas and Sthaviravadins. He tried to suppress the splits. In fact, Ashoka was so inspired by Buddhism that he made his son and daughter also as Buddhist monks. One of his sons and daughter, the son's name is, I think I have told it once before. daughter's name is Sangamitra. Daughter's name is Sangamitra. Now, if you write the Sangamitra name down, son's name also I'll remember. Mahinda and Sangamitra. Yes, Mahinda and Sangamitra. So both of them, made them into monks. Okay, he should have converted. Okay, just trying to joke, but he converted his daughter and son. They were inspired by this Buddhism and they became monks, and they are the ones who took the message of Buddhism to Sri Lanka. Okay, they made in Sri Lanka Buddhism more popular. Even before him, to Sri Lanka Buddhism was taken, but son and daughter, they made it more popular. They made it more popular in Sri Lanka. And then after that, the fourth council was held. And the fourth council was held during the period of Kanishka. Kanishka. And Kanishka is a Kushana king. Remember the four foreign ruling groups? Okay, Greek, Shakas, okay, Parthians and Kushanas, right? So one of these foreign ruling group is Kushanas, and the king of it is Kanishka. You write this, Kushana. Okay, the term Kushana you write here. And this council, it is presided by a person called Vasumitra, and it is held at Kundalavana. Okay, Kundalavana is nothing but Srinagar in Jammu and Kashmir. Okay, Kundalavana is Srinagar in Jammu and Kashmir. There the council was held. Patliputra is Patna. Okay, Vaishali is also a district in Bihar today. Okay, so this was held in Kundalavana, and here the second major split in Buddhism occurred between Hinayana and Mahayana. Okay, Hinayana and Mahayana is the second major split which occurred. Okay, I'll talk about the splits, Hinayana and Mahayana. Okay, this is the second major split which occurred in the fourth council. And during medieval period, okay, because of the influence of Tantricism, a new form of Buddhism emerged which is called Vajrayana. Yesterday I talked about it. Okay, Vajrayana format of Buddhism, it emerged because of influence of Tantra during medieval period. Okay, and this gave more importance to worship of Taras. Just remember this, Tara worship, it was given more importance. Who are the Taras and stuff, I'll talk about. Just a little bit of a time you give me, I'll talk about who the Taras are. Okay. Because in Hinduism, Tantra led to worship of Shakti. In Buddhism, it led to worship of the female deity called Tara. A female deity called Tara. Who the Taras are and stuff, I'll talk about shortly. Did you understand this? Okay, the four councils. Now we'll move to subsects of Buddhism. Okay, this diagram is very, very important, and multiple number of questions have been asked on the same image. Okay, on the same image, multiple number of questions have been asked, and I have included this image even before UPSC started asking questions. Okay, I'm not joking. You can check my old lectures too. Okay, even before they started asking questions, I have included this diagram. Okay, this is very, very important. And see, what they used to do earlier is, prior to 2013, they used to ask questions on the life story of Buddha. Who is the father? Who is mother? Okay, who is the stepmother? What is his gotra? Okay, these kind of questions used to be asked prior to 2013. From 2013 on, what they did is till 2017, they asked questions on philosophy of Buddhism. Okay, the philosophy that I talked about, most of the questions are around the philosophy of Buddhism. Now, the new trend in Buddhist questions and Jaina questions is the subsects of Buddhism and Jainism, and what are the core doctrines of these subsects. So this is being asked today. Okay, this is more important than preliminary now. Now, so first initially there was a Sangha, and okay, in the second council itself, okay, it is given second or third, but it is in the second council, the split occurred between Mahasangika and Stavira. Yes, first we will talk about this split, why it occurred, what is the core doctrine of Mahasangikas, and what is the core doctrine of Staviravadins, we will talk about first. See, I told you that Staviras are Orthodox sect. Orthodox sect. Orthodox is a group of people who try to follow whatever has been taught by the founder of the religion. Yes, these are called Orthodox people. Whereas Mahasangikas, they are the ones who wanted to bring in new innovations and changes in Buddhism. That is the reason why they are called as unorthodox. Unorthodox are the people who try to innovate, who try to change according to circumstance. Orthodox are the ones who stick on to the original doctrine. Okay, who stick on to the original doctrine. And see, the main issue is with respect to the Mahasangikas and the Staviravadins, they got split on the issue of Vasavasa. On the issue of Vasavasa, they got split. Mainly because Mahasangikas are of the opinion that the Buddhist monks are wasting time in begging. They are wasting time in begging. They should instead focus upon meditation and preaching of the religion. Why should we waste time in begging? Now we are getting a lot of contributions from the kings, merchants and other communities. So why should we go and beg? First question. Second question is, they wanted an extended Vasavasa. Vasavasa is the monsoon retreat, but they wanted to extend it to other seasons too, so that some people can sit and focus upon meditation and preaching the religion. Are you following this? So this was the opinion of Mahasangikas, and Sthaviravadins, they were against it, because Buddha throughout his life, even at the ripe age of 83, he walked from place to place and he begged for his food. When Buddha was doing that, what is the problem with you guys? If you stay at one place, automatically you will get corrupted. If you start accepting gifts, you will get corrupted. And the core essence of Buddhism will be compromised if you stay at one place. That was the charge of Sthaviravadins. So naturally it led to a split between both of them. Are you following what I'm trying to say? So don't stay at one place. If you stay at one place, it will lead to corruption, is the idea of Sthaviras. Begging is essential and you should not stay at one place. You can write it down. Is it given there? Nietzsche explanation? No. I think these handouts are a little old, but fine. You take a white sheet, because there is a lot of content now. So you take a white sheet, or at the end of the handout itself, you write. It will lead to corruption on one side. The other side you write about this aspect. Sthavira Mahasangika. So Sthavira are orthodox. They talked about the essentiality of begging. Essentiality of begging, and are against extension of Vasavasa. Essentiality of begging and against extension of Vasavasa. Extension of Vasavasa. Whereas Mahasangikas wanted to do away with begging, wanted to reside at one place, and focus on meditation and scriptures. Extend Vasavasa. So this is the first split. Between Mahasangikas and Sthaviravadins. Now, later, the fourth council of Buddhism. In the fourth council, after that, there were some initial internal splits. Mahasangikas got divided into Lohotravadins and Ekavevharikas, whereas Sthaviravadins, they were split into Vatsiputra, Sammatiyas, Vijayavadins and Sarvastivadins. These splits are important. Just remember the names. But their philosophy is not very important, except for Sarvastivada. Rest of the things are not important. So there were 5 splits. Mahasangikas, they got split into Lohotravadins and Ekavevharikas. Whereas Sthaviravadins, they got split into Vatsiputriya, Sammatiyas and Vijayavadins, along with Sarvastivadins. So this is the second split. And this did not occur at any particular council. It was a general Sanghaveda which occurred. It did not occur at any particular council. And of these 5 schools, Sarvastivada is very important. Sarvastivada is very important. And this Sarvastivada, Sarvam Asti, it is based on 2 words. Write this down. Sarvam Asti. Sarvastivada is based on the idea of Sarvam Asti. Sarvam Asti, which means everything is present. Everything is present. And it is an outcome of the Abhidhamma tradition. Abhidhamma is philosophical interpretation. Abhidhamma tradition. and they depend upon this theory called eternalist theory of time. Eternalist theory of time. Their book is Mahavibhasha Shastra. Mahavibhasha Shastra is their book. They are of the opinion that the past, present, future all are real and they are combined. Past, present, future all are real and they are all combined. See, Buddha told what? The world is continuously in flux. Okay, but these people, they had an exact opposite interpretation of what Buddha preached. But even then, it is also part of Buddhism. Are you getting it? Okay, in philosophical interpretation, okay, that is how things are done, right? Constitution is a document which is written with a few key phrases, but its meaning is continuously being expanded by the Supreme Court. Are you getting this? Similarly, okay, these people also did what? They went exactly against the grain of Buddhism, that is transience or anicca. And they said that everything is present always. Always everything is present and everything is real in this world. Sarvam asti. Okay, and this is called Sarvastivada. And they were further divided into two groups called Tirthankaras and Vaibhasikas. Okay, right, in diagram itself you draw these two sects. In diagram you draw these two sects. One is Tirthankarika and the second one is Vaibhasika. Tirthankarika and Vaibhasika are the two sects which were formed on the basis of Sarvastivada. Based on Sarvastivada, these two sects are formed. Tirthankarika and Vaibhasika. You just remember the names of the schools. Okay, only Sarvastivada is important because it goes against the grain of Buddhist philosophy of anicca. Okay, it goes against anicca. That is the reason why it is important. Rest of the things are not very important. Okay, the Ekavyavharikas, Lohottaravadins, all these things are not very important for us. Now, we'll go to the fourth concept split, that is the split between Hinayana and Mahayana. The other name of Hinayana is Theravada. It is given, right? Theravada. Okay, Theravada is the other name of Hinayana. And on the other side, in the fourth council, there was formation of Mahayana school. And Theravada or Hinayana, it is a mixture of all the aforementioned schools. In fact, okay, the first school is Mahasangikas and Sthaviravadins, right? Sthaviravadins, it got split into numerous subsects. And after that, in the fourth council, these subsects, they joined together and they created once more a single group called Theravada. Okay, Theravada, or it is also known as Hinayana. And this Theravada or Hinayana school of Buddhism, okay, it only today, among the followers of Buddhism, only 1/5 of the followers, they follow this Theravada form of Buddhism. 1/5. 1/5 only follow this Theravada form of Buddhism, and it is more popular in Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka and Southeast Asia, it is popular. Sri Lanka and Southeast Asia, it is more popular, and it is a little orthodox. It is an orthodox form of Buddhism because they try to stick to what Buddha initially preached. Okay, so they try to stick to what Buddha initially preached. They are called as Theravada or Hinayana school of thought. And the other one is Mahayana. Okay, Mahayana means the great vehicle. Okay, the meaning of Mahayana is it is a great vehicle. Great vehicle. Okay, by the time of fourth council, what happened is there was a little bit of a crisis in Buddhism. Okay, a crisis in Buddhism. See, Buddha was emphasizing only on ethics in religion, right? Okay, but people are getting more attracted towards rituals and sacrifices than spirituality or ethics. So this was one problem, and most of the common people, they were not attracted to the preachings of Buddha. Okay, only a few intellectuals, they got attracted to Buddhism and they got converted to Buddhism. But the common people, they are not following Buddhism. First problem. Second problem is what? The new foreign ruling groups have been established. Earlier, most of the ruling dynasties they belong to, okay, they supported Buddhism like Ashoka Maurya. Okay, and other ruling dynasties of India, they supported Buddhism. But the problem was after the entry of foreign ruling groups, for foreign ruling groups, Buddhism was not a very attractive religion for them. Okay, it was not a very attractive religion because they had different set of practices in their own religion. And the Buddhist monks, they wanted to attract the foreign ruling groups towards Buddhism because by attracting them, you will get more patronage, money, contributions you will get. Because the ruling groups are the ones which patronize religion. Yes or no? Take the case of, okay, Karnataka itself, the Vijayanagar Empire itself constructed so many temples. Okay, it gave donations for religious activities. Yes or no? Hoysalas, they constructed numerous temples. Similarly, the Buddhists at this point of time also wanted contributions from foreign ruling groups. That was the second intention. And the third intention is that they wanted to attract the common people. First, second is attract foreign ruling groups, and they also wanted to stay relevant to the changing times. Okay, this was their third intention. You write this down. Mahayana, they wanted to attract foreign ruling groups included. Okay, attract foreign ruling groups and common men, and with this intention, they changed some aspects of Buddhism. And here, okay, this can be asked as an independent mains question too. The changes which have been proposed by Mahayana. In prelims, it has been asked multiple number of times. What changes Mahayana has proposed? Okay, when it comes to Mahayana, you write it in your white sheet. When it comes to Mahayana, okay, what Mahayana did was, first and foremost, Mahayana very clearly proclaimed that Buddha is not a human being, he is a god. Okay, Buddha who never claimed himself to be God. He also never commented on God. But Mahayana school, what it did is it converted Buddha into a god. First thing. Second thing is, okay, it brought in the same rituals and sacrifices which Buddha rejected, they brought into Buddhism. Rituals and sacrifices. Okay, incense, candle burning, okay, yogas, yagnas, all of these things were brought back into this. And Buddha always preached in the language Pali, but these people, they introduced the Sanskrit language into Buddhism. Sanskrit language, because Sanskrit language is more attractive towards, okay, it has more attraction for the foreign ruling groups. So they adopted Sanskrit language, and they formulated a new cult called Bodhisattva cult. Okay, they formulated a new cult called Bodhisattva cult. Bodhisattva cult. See, earlier Buddha said what? Every person should work on himself, okay, inner struggle, and finally he has to attain nirvana, right? It is every individual should meditate and attain nirvana. That is the ultimate objective of Buddhism. Okay, but it is becoming too difficult for common men to attain nirvana. Okay, sitting, meditating is a very tough job. Okay, that too, meditating for long periods of time is even more tough. So this was becoming difficult for common men, and it was not an attractive element. So what they did is, okay, they created a new cult called Bodhisattvas. And these Bodhisattvas, what they do is, they help people attain nirvana. Okay, don't meditate, go and pray to a Bodhisattva. Okay, go and pray to a Bodhisattva, and he will immediately give you nirvana. Are you following what I'm trying to say? Okay, see, if a religion says that work hard, okay, you will attain moksha, then it will not become a popular religion. But if it says that, okay, rather than working hard, you go to a god and pray in front of him, naturally, okay, the second religion will become more popular than the first religion. Are you following what I'm trying to say? Okay, that is why even Tirupati Devasthana is very famous. Yes? Yes or no? Okay, because he is considered, Lord Balaji is considered to be a very compassionate god. Okay, whatever you go and pray in front of him, it will be fulfilled. And in return, he only expects your hair. Yes or no? Okay, that too which can regrow very fast. Okay, but instead, if he expects your hand, limb, okay, or other things, then he will not become very popular. Okay, so this way, Bodhisattvas are the people who, without expecting anything from people, they will help people in attaining nirvana. Are you following this? And Bodhisattvas are a group of people, okay, who mainly, they stop their own nirvana. Okay, this idea is very important. Bodhisattvas, you write this down. Bodhisattvas stop their own nirvana. Bodhisattvas deliberately stop their own nirvana. Deliberately stop their own nirvana. And help the followers of Buddhism, to attain nirvana. Okay, to attain nirvana. And the Bodhisattvas are characterized by some qualities called paramitas, perfections. Paramitas or perfections are, a few perfections are attained by different Bodhisattvas. Okay, paramitas means perfections. Okay, perfections they are going to attain. And these perfections are, okay, let's suppose there are three Bodhisattvas. One is Avalokiteshwar Padmapani. Okay, very, very popular figure among Mahayana Buddhists. Avalokiteshwar Padmapani is the first one. And he is a being full of compassion. This is also a paramita. Paramita is compassion here. He was a perfected personification of compassion. Okay, his image is very, very popular in India. Okay, very popular in India. Ajanta caves, most of the stupas, they contain the image of Avalokiteshwar Padmapani. Avalokiteshwar Padmapani, and he is full of compassion, a being full of compassion. And that second one is Vajrapani. He is also a Bodhisattva, and he is an emblem of power. He is an emblem of power. The third one is Manjushri. Manjushri, and his perfection is he is full of wisdom. Paramita. Manjushri, Avalokiteshwar, Vajrapani. And there was one more Buddha called Amitabha. You write this down. Amitabha. Amitabha is a heavenly Buddha. Amitabha is a heavenly Buddha under this school. And they created a big group of Bodhisattvas, just like the Hindu gods. There are different Bodhisattvas who are attributed to different functions. Okay, this Vajrapani is almost very similar to Indra. He carries a thunderbolt also in his hand. Okay, the Manjushri, he is very close to the idea of Buddha. Okay, no, not Buddha, I'm sorry, Brahma. It is very close to the idea of Brahma. So this way, they are inspired from the Hindu religion, and they created this huge pantheon of Bodhisattvas. Bodhisattvas, and of these, and they also propose this idea of Maitreya. Okay, Maitreya is one more idea they have proposed. Maitreya, okay, which talks about the reincarnation of Buddha. Maitreya is the next reincarnation of Buddha. Just like Vishnu, even Buddha will take rebirth. Okay, there will be an avatar of Buddha, and the next avatar of Buddha is going to be Maitreya. Okay, a person who is already dead is not very inspiring, but a person who is going to come in future is very inspirational, right? Okay, whenever there is adharma, okay, you can immediately say that Maitreya will come and he will establish dharma. Similarly, in Hinduism also, Kalki Avatara is very famous because he is going to be the future Vishnu. That is more attractive, right? Yes or no? So, in order to attract more number of people, they formulated this idea of Maitreya, who is going to be the future Buddha or next Buddha. Okay, he is going to be the next avatara of Buddha. And okay, world over, nearly 4/5 of Buddhists they belong to this Mahayana school. And Mahayana school is very popular in both China and Japan. China and Japan, both places, it is very, very popular. Southeast Asia and Sri Lanka is Hinayana. Here it is Mahayana. And it became immensely popular. Immensely popular. Okay, it became immensely popular. Did you understand what Mahayana proposed? Okay, it said that Buddha is God first. And it also created a huge pantheon of gods called Bodhisattvas. Okay, pantheon means a group of gods called Bodhisattvas. And Bodhisattvas, they are people who have some perfections. They can attain nirvana, but they deliberately stop their own nirvana in order to enlighten others. And it also introduced the aspect of rituals and sacrifices, okay, into Buddhism. Then, apart from that, they also talked about a future Buddha called Maitreya. And they are the ones, you write one more point, they started the iconography of Buddha. Okay, Buddha icon worship or idol worship of Buddha, you write. Started the practice of idol worship of Buddha. Okay, idol worship of Buddha, they promoted. This is what Mahayana school is, and their main intention was attraction of foreign ruling groups and common people, and they also adopted to the language Sanskrit. Yes, so this way Mahayana school became immensely popular, and it was an instant success. Okay, but if Buddha had seen the Mahayana doctrines, what would he have done? He he would have rejected them naturally. Okay, so it is an outright rejection of the core of Buddhist philosophy. Yes, and Mahayana school, it converted Buddhism into an organized religion. Earlier it was a spiritual community. Now it became an organized religion under Mahayana school. So this is what Mahayana school is, and the Mahayana school further got split into some subparts, and these subparts are, one is known as Madhyamika, and the second one is known as Yogacara, and the third one is known as Vajrayana. When it comes to Madhyamika school, it has been formulated by a person called Acharya Nagarjuna. You write these things down. Madhyamika has been formulated by Acharya Nagarjuna. Is it given there? Okay, Acharya Nagarjuna, and he proposed an idea called Sunyata. Very, very important. Sunyata idea was first proposed by this person, Nagarjuna, Acharya Nagarjuna. Okay, Sunyata, it builds upon the anatta, meaninglessness. Remember? Okay, based on that, he builds upon the concept called Sunyata. Sunyata. And he wrote a book called Madhyamika Karika. And he also established a university called Sri Parvat University. Sri Parvat University is the university established by this person. Sri Parvat University, and it is established at a place called Nagarjuna Konda. Okay, Nagarjuna Konda is present in Telangana. Okay, Nagarjuna Konda. The Nagarjuna Sagar Dam. I think you know about Nagarjuna Sagar Dam, right? Very big dam. It has been constructed during the time of Jawaharlal Nehru. In fact, it submerged, okay, most of the Nagarjuna Konda. Only the tip of Nagarjuna Konda is available now, is present now. Okay, if you want to go there from Hyderabad, it is somewhere around some 100-150 kilometers. Okay, and you can go there. There are n number of Buddhist relics, because Nagarjuna Konda is also at one point of time the capital of Ikshvakus. You can write it down. Okay, it was the capital of Ikshvakus. It was the capital of Ikshvakus. Okay, there are n number of stupas there. Okay, but most of the Konda has been submerged by the dam. A very popular one. Okay, Sri Parvat University, and he is the one who proposed the idea of Sunyata for the first time. Sunyata is nothingness, and it is almost similar to existentialism. Okay, meaninglessness of the human actions. Okay, very, very great philosopher, and it is from this conception of Sunyata itself. Okay, later day the term zero has emerged. Okay, Sunyata is a philosophical concept, and zero is a mathematical concept. Yes, so mathematical zero, it emerges from this ideology of Sunyata. Okay, no one talked about this nothingness, okay, before Indians. That is the reason why numerology or numeracy is a contribution of India to the world. 0, 1. Okay, 0, it has its origin in the philosophy of Sunyata, and later it took a mathematical formulation or mathematical conception. So Sunyata idea he has talked about, and he also wrote a book called Madhyamika Karika, and he also became an inspiration for Shankara. Okay, Shankaracharya, later day Hindu philosopher, very popular. So he became an inspiration for Shankaracharya. I'll talk about what is the inspiration later when I discuss about Shankaracharya. And apart from Acharya Nagarjuna, even there were others like Aryadeva, Buddha Palita, and Chandrakirti. I'll send the slides too. If you want to, you can write them down. Okay, 3 other monks are there: Aryadeva, Buddha Palita, and Chandrakirti. And the next school is called Yogacara school. Yogacara school, and its main focus is on meditation. Naturally, yoga means meditation, right? So its focus is on meditation, and it is founded by people called Asanga, Vasubandhu, and Dharmakirti. Asanga, Vasubandhu, and Dharmakirti, and it tried to enhance the consciousness. In order to attain clarity and knowledge. Same thing. Any meditation technique tries to do the same thing, right? It will try to enhance a person's consciousness in order to attain clarity. This is what this school proposes, which is called the Yogacara school. The last one is Vajrayana. And Vajrayana school, it is influenced by Tantricism. And here, the chief deity is Tara. Okay, and the Tara is wife of Bodhisattvas. The wives of Bodhisattvas are created. Okay, Bodhisattva is present. The earlier gods, okay, their wives are created called Taras. Okay, Padmapani has a wife. Similarly, Vajrapani has a wife. So their wives are Taras. It is based on Tara worship. and they depend upon yantra, mantra and tantra. Yantra, mantra and tantra. Okay. Yantra means, okay, I think you know about yantra. They are usually, it's kind of rangoli which is made. Okay, usually in some spiritual practices, rangoli will be made, right? On that people will sit and meditate. Okay, this is, yantra means rangoli. Okay, rangoli. I think you understand what rangoli is, right? Yes, okay, it is a rangoli. It is a kind of rangoli. In most of the movies also, okay, sometimes when evil spirits are dragged out of a person, they will be made to sit in a rangoli, right? That is what is called yantra. Okay, along with that, the chief mantra of this Vajrayana is this idea called Om Mani Padmeham. Okay, Om Mani Padmeham is the core mantra. It is the bija of this Vajrayana Buddhism is Om Mani Padmeham. Okay, and along with that, they also depend on tantra. Tantra are ritualistic practices. Ritualistic practices. And the ultimate aim of Vajrayana is also realization of Sunyata. Is also realization of Sunyata. The Vajrayana school is very popular in Tibet. Okay, our Dalai Lama, he belongs to the same school. Okay, Tibetan school of Buddhism is nothing but Vajrayana Buddhism. Okay, he talks only about ethics, right? But the core of Vajrayana is based on rituals and sacrifices. You following this? Okay, so you go to Ladakh region, you go to some sections of Himachal Pradesh. In all those regions, this practice of Vajrayana is very popular. And this Vajrayana school, it originated in Nalanda University. And from Nalanda University, it has been carried to Tibet. Okay, it has been carried to Tibet. Okay, write the names of the people who carried it to Tibet. One person's name is Deepankara. Okay, Atisat Deepankara is the person who carried Buddhism to Tibet region. Okay, so these are the various schools of Buddhism. I think I have given enough clarity on this. Maybe if I had included it in the handout, it would have been even better. But okay, I'll share the slides too. Don't worry. Okay, I think all the slides have been uploaded till date, right? Okay, all sections slides have been uploaded. So I think there is no problem then. These are the various schools. Original doctrine, popular in Sri Lanka and Southeast Asia. We have talked about it. Next, we'll move to the concept of Jainism. Is this fine? Buddhism, did you understand in its entirety? Okay, splits in Buddhism, philosophy of Buddhism. Okay, the various key terms in Buddhism. All of these aspects are very, very important for preliminary and mains. Every year, without fail, they ask one or the other question on either Buddhism or Jainism. They do this. Okay, it is a standard practice. Now we'll talk about Jainism. When it comes to Jainism, Jainism has a lot of parallels to Buddhism. At least, okay, the story behind Jainism is almost similar to the story behind Buddhism. Okay, the backstory or the background story of the person who founded Jainism as a religion. Okay, that is who founded Jainism as a separate religion? Mahavira. Okay, so the backstory of Mahavira and Buddha are almost same. Okay, but Jainism, apart from Jainism also was formulated in 6th century BCE only, the same time period of Buddha. It was almost a parallel movement to Buddhism. But Mahavira, okay, he is a predecessor of Buddha. Okay, Mahavira, chronologically, Mahavira comes first and then only Buddha comes. And Mahavira, he is a close associate of, okay, this ruler by the name of, who is the father of Ajatasattu? Bindusara. Okay, he is a contemporary and in fact, he is also a relative of Bindusara. Okay, so Mahavira is contemporary of Bindusara, whereas Buddha is contemporary of Ajatasattu. Okay, so Ajatasattu. So first you write this down. And here, this Jainism, after being formulated, what it did is, it started claiming that it is, okay, it is an older religion. It is not an young religion. It is a very old religion. It started claiming that it is a very old religion, which is present from the time of Vedas itself. From the time of Vedas itself, we are present, but in an organized form, it has been established by Mahavira, because old is considered always to be good, right? Yes or no? In case of religion, the older the religion is, the prestige of the religion is more. So naturally, this oldness of a religion, it has been claimed by Jainism. It has been claimed by Jainism. And even though Mahavira is, okay, the first Tirthankara that we know of, what it says is that in Jainism, there are a total of 24 Tirthankaras. Tirthankara means, the word Tirthankara means fourth founder. It claims that Jainism has 23 Tirthankaras even before Mahavira. Okay, before Mahavira also, there were nearly 23 Tirthankaras. 23 Tirthankaras. Tirthankara is a person who shows light in darkness. Who shows light right in darkness. And it is a person who establishes a stream of rightfulness in the ocean of misery. Okay, you write this statement down. It's not given there. Who establishes a stream of rightfulness in the ocean of misery. Okay, in the ocean of misery, a person who establishes a stream of rightfulness is called as a Tirthankara. So it started claiming that we have in total 24 Tirthankaras. Even under Mahavira, he is just the last of the Tirthankaras. He is the last of the Tirthankaras, and the guru of Mahavira by the name of Parshvanatha, he is made into the 23rd Tirthankara. He is made into the 23rd Tirthankara. 23rd is Parshvanatha, 24th is Mahavira. 24th is Mahavira. Okay, and the rest 22. Okay, the rest 22, they are shrouded in mystery. The rest 22, they are shrouded in mystery means there is no historical evidence for the rest 23. No historical evidence. Okay, nowhere are they mentioned. Okay, and it is just a backstory which has been created to Jainism. Unlike Buddhism, they had a backstory. They said that, okay, we are as old as the Vedas. Because in Vedas, there is reference to a person by the name of Rishabhanatha. And they claimed this person to themselves and they said that, okay, this person is our first Tirthankara. Are you following what I'm trying to say? Okay, the first Tirthankara, Rishabhanatha, he has been mentioned in Rig Veda. You write it now. Has been mentioned in Rig Veda, and he is considered to be the first Tirthankara in Jainism. Okay, they claimed this. Okay, just like today BJP is claiming Bhagat Singh, Chandrasekhar Azad to themselves. Okay, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar also they are claiming. So similarly, these people also claimed that, okay, in fact in Rig Veda itself there is a person called Rishabhanatha. He is the first Tirthankara. After that there were nearly 22. And after the 22nd, 23rd one is Parshvanath and the 24th one is Mahavira. So, and we have historical evidence for 23rd and 24th, but the first 22, they are shrouded in mystery. We don't know about them. And here, Jainism also started very similarly to Buddhism. Okay, and here, there was a tribe called Jinatrikas. Okay, just Jinatrika tribe, they were also a Ganasangha. Okay, you write the word Ganasangha there. They were also Ganasangha, just like the Sakyas. And in a place called Kundagram, okay, Mahavira was born, and his father is Siddhartha, and mother is Trishola. Okay, mother is Trishola, and she is in fact a Lichavi princess. His mother is a princess from the Lichavi dynasty. Okay, Lichavi dynasty, she is a princess, and he is related to Bimbisara through his mother. Okay, Trishola, she is a cousin of Bimbisara. Okay, not cousin. In fact, what happened is Trishola's sister is married to Bimbisara. Okay, Trishola's sister is married to Bimbisara, and naturally Bimbisara becomes an uncle of Mahavira. Okay, became an uncle of Mahavira. So this is the relation between them. And his father's name is Siddhartha and mother's name is Trishola. And he got married to a woman called Yashodhara. So what is Buddha's wife's name? Same name. Okay, same name. And they had a daughter together whose name is Priyadarshini. Okay, there it is Rahula, here it is Priyadarshini. And naturally, this person was also dissatisfied with life. So what he did is he renounced the world and material life and he went into forest. Okay, both Buddha and Mahavira, initially they were married, but they renounced their family life and they went into forest. Okay, they took sannyasa. And Mahavira, he also similar to Buddha, he traveled across the length and breadth of, mainly the forests of India he traveled. And here in the forest, he met a person by the name of Makkali Gosaliputra. He met him and they both traveled together for a few years. They practiced meditation also together. And later there was a conflict between Mahavira and Makkali Gosliputra. Okay, there was a conflict and they took their own paths. Makkali Gosliputra, he went on to establish a sect called Ajivika sect, which is also very popular in ancient India. He went on to establish a sect called Ajivika sect, and you have to remember that both of them are contemporaries and they interacted with each other. Makkali, Gosaliputra and Mahavira. And finally, after wandering, okay, for quite a lot of time, okay, Mahavira, he used to follow severe austerities, very severe austerities. Severe austerities they used to follow. Okay, Mahavira used to follow very severe austerities, and he also adopted the path of nudity. He never used to wear any clothes. So after following severe austerities, just like Buddha, this person also in a place called Jrimbika Grama, and below a salt tree, okay, below a salt tree, he attained this knowledge called Kaivalya Jnana. Attained the knowledge called Kaivalya Jnana, and Kaivalya means perfect knowledge. Kaivalya is perfect knowledge, and he started preaching his doctrine. After attaining Kaivalya, he started preaching his doctrine, and the group of followers that he had are known as the Jinas. Okay, Jina. Jina is the term, and Jina means conqueror. The word's exact meaning is conqueror. Jina means conqueror. Usually Jainism is associated with peace, right? But the term Jina means it is a conqueror. So this also has been picked up and asked as a question in UPSC. Okay, the term Jina means. Okay, so most people picked up an option which was close to Jaina philosophy of Ahimsa. But the actual meaning of Jina is conqueror. Okay, and here the conquest is on the individual senses. The person who conquers his own desires and senses. Okay, we talked about the higher level jihad, you remember? The fight against an individual's own inner inclinations. It is similar to that. Okay, it is similar to that. So Jina is conqueror of his senses. And the followers of Mahavira, they are called as Nirgranthas. They are called as Nirgranthas. Nirgrantha means a person who is free from bondage or fetters. Fetter means bondage. Okay, write the term's meaning. Fetter means bondage. Okay, he preached throughout his life, and he also had a similar, okay, he also died at a place called Pavapuri. Pavapuri, he died. So this is the story of Mahavira, which is almost similar to Buddha's story. Yes, okay, but there are no big soothsayings, prophecies here. It was a simple concept. It was a simple concept. And okay, Jainism, it differed in some respects from Buddhism. It differed in some respects from Buddhism. And we'll talk about the Jaina philosophy first, and the practices of Jainism also we'll discuss, and the various councils and splits in Jainism. Same as Buddhism, we'll discuss Jainism too. First and foremost, when it comes to philosophy of Jainism, you write the heading here, philosophy of Jainism. Write the heading. It's not given there, right? Directly move to the 5 cardinal principles. Just like the 4 noble truths in Buddhism, here we had 5 cardinal principles. And these 5 cardinal principles are Ahimsa, Satya, Asteya, Aparigraha and Brahmacharya. Okay, these are important for ethics too. In ethics also, okay, the Indian thinkers these 5 thoughts are very important because they also were inspirational to Gandhiji too. Gandhiji was also inspired by Jainism. Yes. Okay, so these 5 doctrines are important. One is Ahimsa. Ahimsa means non-violence, I think you know. Satya means pursuit of truth. Gandhi also did this. Then the third one is Asteya. Okay, Asteya is a very, very important principle which talks about non-stealing. Okay, you should never resort to stealing, whether ideas, okay, whether material things, whatever it might be, you should never steal from others. That is one thing. And the last one, next one is Aparigraha. Aparigraha means non-possession. Okay, Aparigraha is non-possession. Okay, but naturally, if you want me to point out, then okay, the Jainas are the richest community in India today. Okay, but the religion, it calls for non-possession. Okay, but most of the capitalists, industrialists, bankers in India, all of them, they belong to the Jain community. They are the richest micro-minority in India after Parsis. Parsis are also similarly very rich community. But Parsi religion, it has its origin outside India. So we are not going to discuss about it. But here, the core principle of Jainism is non-possession, non-stealing, truth, non-violence. And the last one is Brahmacharya. That is, a person has to maintain chastity in his life. Okay, Brahmacharya. Okay, you should not get married. That is one more core principle of Jainism. So these are the 5 core principles of Jainism. which are known as the 5 cardinal principles. And a person who follows all these 5 cardinal principles is known as a Mahavrata. Mahavratas are none other than monks in Jainism. Mahavrata is a monk in Jainism. It's given there. It's given there. Mahavrata is monk in Jainism. Whereas, it is given here. Monks of Jainism are called Mahavratas and the lay followers are called Anuvratas. And the Anuvratas are the people who partially implement these principles. Okay, partial implementation is Anuvrata. Mahavrata is full implementation of these principles. Okay, Anuvrata and Mahavrata. So this way they classified this. And after this, if you see the Jaina Scriptures, okay, the Jaina Scriptures are known as Purvas and Angas. Purvas and Angas, and the language which has been adopted to write these is known as Ardhamagadi and Shauraseni. Okay, just like Pali of Buddha, this person also preached in the local languages, and this Ardhamagadi and Shauraseni, they are also known as Prakrit. Okay, Prakrit is any language which is spoken by the common people. Okay, Prakrit has many forms of Prakrit are there, and one of these forms is called Ardhamagadi and the other is called Shauraseni. Okay, in fact, most of the vernacular languages of India, they emerged from Prakrit. Okay, you know, the language is there called Paisachi Prakrit, which later became Marathi. In fact, Ardhamagadi, it later became Hindi. Okay, so this way, Prakrit is nothing but the local language or common language of people is called Prakrit. And most of the religious doctrines of Jainism, they have been written down in this local language. Okay, and Jainism also talks about Three Ratnas, just like Buddhism. Buddhism mein Three Ratna is there, right? Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha. Here also there are 3 jewels, that is right knowledge, right action and right belief. Just like the Ashtanga Marga there, here Three Ratna talks about the rightful conduct in life. The rightful conduct in life it talks about. So this difference is very, very important. In Jainism, Three Ratna concept is similar to the Ashtanga Marga of Buddhism. Okay, so here the Three Ratnas are different, there the Three Ratnas are different. Then, apart from that, there is also a split in Jainism. Okay, in Jainism, also similar to Buddhism, there is a split, and the split is between the Digambaras and Shwetambaras. Okay, and Digambaras, their leader is this person called Bhadrabahu. Their story I'll talk about later. Okay, in the splits I'll talk about. So their leader is a person called Bhadrabahu, and the Shwetambaras leader is known as Stulabahu. Stulabahu. Okay, Digambaras, they maintained complete nudity, just like Mahavira, whereas Shwetambaras, they took to white clothes. They took to white clothes. These are known as, they are headed by a person called Stula Bahu. Okay, how did they split? What is the reason for their split and other things? I'll discuss later. Okay, I think in Karnataka also, Digambaras are a very famous school of Jainism. Okay, Digambara school is very popular in south, particularly in Karnataka, whereas in north, particularly Gujarat and North India, the Shwetambaras are more popular. Okay, so we'll talk about them. Now, we'll talk about some key terms in Jainism. Jaina monasteries, okay, Jaina monasteries and temples are called Basadis. Basadi is the place, just like Vihara and Chaitya. Okay, but here there is no discrimination between the sacred place and the place of stay. Both of them put together are called Basadis. Okay, both of them are put together called Basadis. And Jainism accepted both karma and transmigration, just like Buddhism. Okay, just like Buddhism, they also accepted the principles of karma and transmigration. Okay, but Jainas, they believed in God. They never rejected the authority of God. But they considered that a person who attained Kaivalya, he is superior to gods. Okay, a person who attained Kaivalya is superior to gods. Okay, write this statement down. A person, Jina to be higher than God. Okay, or Kaivalya, the person who attained Kaivalya is greater than gods. In fact, in most of the Jaina imageries too, okay, wherein the sculptures of Jainism too, Mahavira is shown, and okay, some gods are shown who came to pray to Mahavira, like Brahma, Indra, okay, and other gods of Hinduism. They come in a prayerful attitude towards Mahavira because they consider Mahavira to be superior to the gods of, okay, the gods, and they accepted the presence of gods. They never rejected the authority of gods. They commented on gods too, but they considered the gods to be inferior to Mahavira. Okay, this is a very important idea. And The crux of Jainism as a religion, apart from the 5 cardinal principles which have been subscribed to or prescribed to individuals, the crux of the religion is they are of the opinion that every individual soul, soul is in fact very pure. Every individual soul is pure. But the problem is that this individual soul, it is in a bondage. And the bondage is because of influx of karma. I'll tell the technical terms. Continuously, because of various actions that individual does, the soul gets into bondage. The soul gets into bondage because of the actions which are being conducted by individual. And there is a continuous influx of karma on individual soul, and the individual soul will lose its original purity because of these karmas. So the core of Jainism is what? How to liberate this soul from the bondage of karma. This is the core of Jainism, nothing else. The core of Jainism is liberation of soul in bondage and making the soul independent. That is the core idea of Jainism. And for this, they propose some ideas. They give some technical terms too. They say that this bondage of soul is called bandh. Is it given there? You highlight the term bandh. Bandh means bondage of soul. And the influx of karma onto soul is called asra. Influx. Continuously there is new karma and coming and getting accumulated on individual soul. And it is losing its purity because of this, which is called asra. And it says that if one follows the 5 cardinal principles, which are known as Pancha Mahavratas, same thing. If he follows the Pancha Mahavratas, what will happen is the influx of karma will stop. The influx of new karma will stop if an individual starts taking his actions on the basis of the 5 cardinal principles. 5 cardinal principles, and this stopping of influx of karma is known as samvar. It is called samvar. Samvar means you are stopping the influx of the karma on individual by following the 5 cardinal principles called Pancha Mahavratas. And even after stopping of the influx of new karma, the old karma is still on the soul. Yes? Are you following what I'm trying to say? So the old karma is still on the soul, and this accumulated karma can be broken down by practice of self-mortification, which is called nirjara. Practice of self-mortification, which is called nirjara. And this process of self-mortification, it will lead to a state called kaivalya. Self-mortification means what? Following extreme practices. Extreme practice of self-punishment. Extreme practices of self-punishment, if you follow, then only your accumulated karma, it will get destroyed. It will get destroyed, and you will attain the state of kaivalya. So this extreme form of self-mortification, it sometimes will be of the format where people don't eat food for quite long period, and they also resort to plucking their own hair one by one. And they will become completely bald. This is also a practice of self-mortification, self-punishment, in order to lose the original karma. They will resort to these kind of things. They also take part in extreme austere activities. Sometimes they sleep on a bed of thorns too. All of these are part of the self-mortification process. Buddhism never subscribed to these kind of ideas. Only Jainism is the one which subscribed to this form of self-mortification, because Jaina's kaivalya, it is attained through self-mortification. So he also prescribes the same things to his followers too. Bed of thorns, I think you know about this thing. Some of these things at least you might be knowing about. So this is what they prescribe. And through this, this practice of self-mortification is called nirjara, and finally you will be able to attain a state called kaivalya. Kaivalya is a state of perfect knowledge in Jainism. So Jainism, because it lays great emphasis on knowledge, perfect knowledge state is called kaivalya. Are you following what I'm trying to say? Getting or not getting? Yes. Now the next is called, once the soul gets liberated, it goes to a state called Siddhaloka. You write this down, it's not given there. Siddhaloka is the place, or the abode of liberated souls is called Siddhaloka. The liberated souls, all of them, they go to this Jain paradise, which is called Siddhaloka. Siddhaloka. It is also a very famous painting. I'll show the painting also later. Siddhaloka painting. And it says that, just like Paticca Samuppada, which is part of Buddhism, here they talk about this concept called gunasthans. Gunasthans. And these gunasthans, there are total of 14 stages for attaining kaivalya. Okay, mental states. These are 14 different kinds of mental states. And only if a person passes through all these 14 mental states, he will be able to attain kaivalya. Gunasthan are the 14 stages of attaining kaivalya. 14 mental states, you write. They are not physical states. 14 mental states a person has to follow in order to attain kaivalya. Gnan is known as gunasthan. It's called gunasthan. And Jainas believe in the permanence of, not the transience, but the permanence of universe, just like the opposite of Buddhism. They believe in the permanence of universe. Universe is permanent according to them. Okay, the world is permanent according to them. It is not transient. And they say that even though it is permanent, it goes through cycles of progress and decline. Okay, write the statement down. It's not given there. The universe is permanent and it goes through cycles of progress and decline. Utsarpini and Avasarpini. Utsarpini means progress. Avasarpini means decline. Universe is permanent and it goes through cycles called Utsarpini and Avasarpini. And in one cycle of, and it says that universe is uncreated, eternal and permanent. Okay, uncreated, eternal, it is given there. Permanent you have written down, and it goes through cycles called Utsarpini and Avasarpini. And one cycle of Utsarpini, Avasarpini may, it says that, okay, there will be a total of 63 Salak Purushas. Salak Purusha means great individuals. There will be 63 great individuals in every cycle, and there will be 12 great emperors called Chakravartins, and there will be 24 Tirthankaras in every cycle. In every cycle, there will be 24 Tirthankaras. Tirthankara means the fourth founder. 12 Chakravartins, great emperors, and 63 Salak Purush, who are the great individuals in Jainism. Okay, and they are of the opinion that the universe is an interaction of jivas and ajivas. Jivas are the things which contain soul. Ajivas are soulless beings. Okay, the world is, universe is an interaction between jivas and ajivas. Is it not given there? Okay, you just highlight that word. Okay, and Jainism also proposes a concept called Sallekhana. Okay, Sallekhana, or Sallekhana is also known as this Santara. You write this word down. Sallekhana is also called Santara. Okay, Sallekhana or Santara. And okay, a person at the end stages of his life, he has to follow the practice of self-mortification, which will lead to death. Okay, self-mortification, which will lead to death, means that at the end stages of a person's life, person should voluntarily reduce his food consumption. Okay, and the end state is you should starve yourself to death. Okay, you should starve yourself to death. Chandragupta Maurya has performed the same Sallekhana in Shravan Balgula. Okay, initially, you slowly start reducing consumption of your food. Okay, start reducing the consumption of water. And finally, okay, you should starve yourself to death. And there was a case once, okay, in Gujarat, one lady, she tried to conduct Sallekhana. And at that point of time, suicide was considered as a crime. So what they did is someone filed a petition in court saying that this lady is conducting suicide. She said that, no, it is my religion which is prescribing me to do this. And it is a core practice of my religion. So the Supreme Court should not interfere in this. Okay, there was a big case in 2013-14. Okay, whether Sallekhana should be considered as an essential religious practice or should we try to stop it. She was initially force-fed. Okay, she was given some saline and other things. She was force-fed. Old lady, some 80-85 years old. Okay, but even then, okay, she went to the Supreme Court. She fought the case. Okay, and finally she conducted a Sallekhana, I think. Okay, you should see this judgment on essential religious practices of a Sallekhana. Even Sabarmala judgment is also based on the same principle of ERP, right? Essential religious practice. So Sallekhana is the practice of, it is considered to be a courageous act, wherein an individual self-mortifies himself and dies in a courageous fashion. So this kind of extreme form of ideology is proposed by Jainism. Okay, by Jainism, this kind of extreme ideology is proposed, Sallekhana. Okay, and Jain logic. Okay, this is also important. There are some key terms in Jain logic. You just have a look at them, which is called Anekantavad, Nyayavad, Saptamangi Nyaya, Shadvada. Okay, Anekantavada, Nyayavada, Saptamangi Nyaya, and Shadvada. Okay, these are the four important ideas. So Anekantavada means truth is having, okay, or knowledge is having infinite aspects. Truth or knowledge, it has infinite aspects. There is no singularity in truth. In Gandhi, I talked about this thing. Okay, there are multiple perceptions of truth. There is no single truth. It is inspired from Anekantavada. And the example which is given for Anekantavada is this Saptamangi Nyaya. I talked about Saptamangi Nyaya also at the point of time. That 7 blind men and an elephant. Okay, that same story. Okay, the example for Anekantavada, they give it through this concept called Saptamangi Nyaya, where is 7 blind men and an elephant story. And they also talk about Nyayavada. Nyaya always means, in ancient India, Nyaya means logic. Okay, they give utmost importance to logical analysis. Logic and analysis they give more importance to. And the last idea is Shadvada. Shadvada, which means conditional truths. Conditional truth. Okay, Shadvada, conditional truth. When it comes to this idea of Shadvada, okay, every person, whenever he is proposing something, okay, he should condition it by saying that, in my perception, this seems to be true. He should never say that this is the absolute truth. Are you following what I'm trying to say? Okay, every person, while speaking anything for that matter, according to me, in my own perception, in my limited perception, this seems to be right. This is what is known as the concept of a conditional truth. Okay, conditional truth means a person should, okay, write it down. Okay, a person should never claim his proposal as absolute truth. His or her proposal as an absolute truth. Okay, it should never be considered as an absolute truth, and every statement that a person makes, he has to condition it with the help of the term called, in my perception, this seems to be right. In my opinion, this seems to be right. Okay, this way every person has to speak, which is called the logic of Shadvada. And the motto of Jainism is very important. Okay, Paraspara Pagraho Jivanam is the motto of Jainism. Is it given there? No, you write it down. Okay, Paraspara Pagraho Jivanam is the motto of Jainism. I think you might have seen this image. Okay, all Jains, okay, Jainism usually follows this image, and the motto is written here. Okay, Paraspara Pagraho Jivanam. Are there any Jains in class? No. Paraspara Pagraho Jivanam is the core principle of Jainism. Paraspara Pagraho Jivanam. Okay, that is the law of mutual interdependence. All life forms are mutually interdependent on each other. Okay, the entire life cycle itself is interdependency. It's based on interdependency. So every individual has to be careful because everything is interdependent. Okay, Parasparo Pagraho Jivanam is the core essence of Jainism. Okay, then apart from that, there is one more idea called Arhat. Okay, in Buddhism, Arhat is the person who has attained Nirvana, right? Okay, but in Jainism, Arhat is similar to the idea of okay, Paramita in Jaina, in Buddhism. Paramitas, you remember? States of perfection. Yes, a Bodhisattva is a person who has attained Paramitas, but he deliberately stopped himself from Nirvana in order to help other beings in order to attain Nirvana, right? Yes. Similarly, okay, here in Jainism, this state is known as Arhat. Okay, you have to write it down. It's not given there. Arhat in Jainism is similar to the Bodhisattvahood. And here, Arhat is the person who has attained 13 of 14 elements of Kaivalya. You remember, Kaivalya has 14 elements. And Arhat, he has attained 13 of 14 elements of Kaivalya, but deliberately stops from Kaivalya to preach Jainism. To preach Jainism, he deliberately stops himself from attaining Kaivalya, and at this stage, this person is called Tirthankara. Okay, once he attains 13 of 14 stages of Kaivalya, he becomes a Tirthankara. Are you following this? Okay, the fourth founder he will become. So this is the story of Jainism. This is the philosophy of Jainism too. Okay, and this diagram it tries to explain. Okay, so this is how it is shown, and there is a hand abhayasta in between, and in between ahimsa, the term ahimsa is written. Okay, and this dot on top, it is the lok. Okay, what lok? What lok? Liberated soul's lok. Huh? Which one? Siddhalok. Okay, this dot, it is a representation of Siddhalok, and below that there are the Triratnas in Jainism. Okay, 3 dots are representation of Triratnas. Okay, and this is swastik. Okay, swastik shows 4 aspects of human life, that is heaven, human life, animal life, and hell. Okay, heaven, human life, animal life, and hell. So this way, this image is given, but not very, very important. Okay, because they can't replicate this image in examination and ask questions. Okay, but maybe, I felt there might be a possibility of a question. So that's the reason why I have included it. And it talks about samsara. Okay, this is swastik, it talks about samsara. Okay, where an individual is born as a human being, goes to heaven or hell, and takes the life form as animal. Okay, again, this cycle will continue. That is represented by swastik. Swastik represents the samsara of life. Write this statement down. Swastik represents the cycle or samsara of life. Cycle or samsara of life. Okay, Jaina councils and Jain splits we'll discuss after a short break.